Imagine a tiny island nation taking on the mightiest empire of its time and winning. Sounds like a movie plot, right? But this is the real, incredible story of the Haitian Revolution. It's a tale of courage, freedom, and the birth of the world's first Black Republic. Let us dive into how a group of enslaved people defied all odds to change the course of history. In the late 18th century, the French colony of Saint-Domingue, what we now know as Haiti, was the most profitable colony in the world. It was called the Pearl of the Antilles, and for good reason. It produced about 40% of the sugar and 60% of the coffee consumed in Europe. But this immense wealth was built on the backs of over 500,000 enslaved Africans who endured unimaginable brutality on its sprawling plantations. The society was a powder keg, rigidly divided by race and class. At the top were the white colonists, the Grands Blancs and Petits Blancs. Below them were the free people of color, the gens de couleur libres, some of whom were wealthy landowners and slave owners themselves, yet faced severe discrimination. At the very bottom, forming the vast majority, were the enslaved Africans. The spark that lit the fuse came from an ocean away. The French Revolution, with its electrifying ideals of liberty, equality, and fraternity, echoed across the Atlantic. The free people of color in Saint-Domingue saw an opportunity. They sent delegates to Paris, demanding the same rights as white French citizens. Initially, their pleas were ignored. Back in the colony, this led to conflict. A wealthy free man of color named Vincent Ogé led a small uprising in 1790, demanding voting rights. His revolt was brutally crushed, and he was publicly executed. But his defiance sent a powerful message. Change was in the air, and it wasn't just the free people of color who were listening. The Réal explosion came on a stormy night in August 1791. At a secret voodoo ceremony at a place called Bois Cayman, a priestess named Cécile Fatimon and a leader named Duty Boukman presided over a pact. Enslaved people from nearby plantations swore an oath to fight for their freedom. Days later, the northern plains of Saint-Domingue erupted in flames. Plantations were burned, and enslavers were attacked in a coordinated, massive uprising. The enslaved people, armed with farming tools, torches, and an unbreakable will to be free, had started a full-blown revolution. Out of this fiery chaos, a remarkable leader emerged, Toussaint Louverture. A formerly enslaved man, Louverture was a brilliant military strategist and a political genius. He was self-educated and could read the works of French Enlightenment thinkers. He joined the rebellion and quickly rose through the ranks, transforming a disorganized group of rebels into a disciplined army. He played a masterful game of diplomacy, initially allying with the Spanish, who controlled the other side of the island, to fight the French. The situation became even more complicated as foreign powers got involved. Both Spain and Great Britain saw the chaos as a chance to seize the valuable colony for themselves. They sent troops to invade Saint-Domingue. Facing a multi-front war, the French government made a radical decision. In 1794, desperate to rally support, they officially abolished slavery in all their colonies. Upon hearing this news, Louverture switched his allegiance back to the French and drove the Spanish and British forces off the island. By 1801, Toussaint Louverture was the de facto ruler of Saint-Domingue. He established a constitution that abolished slavery forever and declared himself governor for life. He wanted to rebuild the colony's economy, even forcing former slaves to return to plantations as paid laborers, a controversial move that caused some resentment. But in France, a new leader had risen to power, Napoleon Bonaparte. Napoleon had grand ambitions for a French empire in the Americas, and a free black-led colony did not fit into his plans. He saw Louverture as a threat and wanted to reinstate slavery to restore the island's profitability. In 1802, he sent his brother-in-law, Charles Leclerc, with a massive fleet of over 40,000 soldiers to reconquer the island. This was one of the largest European forces ever sent across the Atlantic. At first, the French invasion was successful. Many of Louverture's own generals, including Jean-Jacques Dessalines and Henri Christophe, initially sided with the French. Louverture was tricked into a meeting, captured, and deported to a cold prison in the French mountains, where he would die in 1803. Before he was taken away, he uttered his famous, prophetic words, "In overthrowing me, you have done no more than cut down the trunk of the tree of liberty." It will spring back from the roots, for they are numerous and deep. He was right. Leclerc's mission soon fell apart. When news spread that Napoleon intended to bring back slavery, Louverture's generals, led by the fierce Jean-Jacques Dessalines, immediately reignited the rebellion. The Haitian forces waged a brutal, scorched-earth guerrilla war. But their greatest ally turned out to be an invisible enemy, yellow fever. The European troops, with no immunity to tropical diseases, began dying in droves. Thousands perished, including Leclerc himself. The French army was decimated. Finally, in November 1803, Dessalines delivered the final blow to the remaining French forces at the Battle of Verdières. It was a decisive and symbolic victory. On January 1, 1804, Dessalines stood before the people and declared the independent nation of Haiti, making it the second independent country in the Americas after the United States and the world's very first free black republic founded and governed by former slaves. He chose the name Haiti, the original indigenous Taino name for the island, to signify a complete break from its colonial past. The Haitian Revolution was a monumental achievement. It was the only successful large-scale slave rebellion in modern history. It sent shockwaves across the globe, inspiring abolitionist movements and slave uprisings elsewhere, while striking fear into the hearts of slave-owning powers. However, Haiti's journey was far from over. The world powers, including the United States, isolated the new nation, fearing the contagion of liberty. France demanded a crippling indemnity of 150 million francs in 1825 in exchange for recognition, a debt that Haiti would be paying for over a century, severely stunting its economic development. Despite the immense challenges that followed, the story of the Haitian Revolution remains one of the most powerful testaments to the human spirit's desire for freedom. It's a crucial, often overlooked, chapter in world history that reminds us what people can achieve when they unite against oppression. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the past. If you found this story as powerful as I do, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into history. Let me know in the comments what other historical events you'd like to explore. Until next time, stay curious.